Hey everyone, it's your friend Thinknoodles and welcome to Ask Think episode number 129 for Monday, November 24th, 2014. It's Thanksgiving week, well, here in the United States, obviously. But I think it's funny because I saw some comments on my Think video that says Thanksgiving was last month, and the funny thing is, probably if you're in Canada, that's Thanksgiving, right? And then the Thanksgiving that we have now on this Thursday is called American Thanksgiving. But if you're in the US, this one coming is called Thanksgiving, and the one in October is called Canadian Thanksgiving. So anyway, sorry about the sidetrack. Let's get on to the question I asked you guys last week, and that was, what is your favorite song? And they were all over the map. I mean, obviously there were some repeats, especially with some of the most popular songs of today that are on the radio. But let's get started with that. And the first one's from Britta Anderson, and her favorite song is Let It Be by the Beatles. And what a beautiful song. I honestly did not expect any of you guys to say that. And then Siverly Oskui, I think, says my favorite song is called Holiday by the best 80s singer ever, and her name is Madonna, and that's a great song as well. Again, one I did not expect. AJ Sweet says Anyone Else But You by Ellen Page, and that's because it's from the movie Juno, if you guys ever saw it, a comedy about growing up, and because it's random. Jimmy Lilac says Cat, which is the record in Minecraft Cat, and that is my favorite song in Minecraft, so that's pretty cool. I liked that. That was very unique. And then Gabrielle Fries said, my favorite song is Never Let You Go from Thanksia. Yeah, I know, but hey, you know, that's a great song. And I mean, if you guys didn't know, probably you did, but James does all the vocals for his own songs. I think he actually does the instrumentals as well. So yeah, he's got a musical touch. Mireya Rodriguez says the theme song to Mission Impossible. Kayla Chase says Hit and Run by Lolo, and because it was introduced to her by a video game, I'm not sure what video game, but that's pretty cool. Sophie Day said her favorite song is Welcome to the Black Parade, and that is a really, really like deep, kind of almost Black Parade, but kind of a dark song, and I really, really like that song as well. Johanna Geronimo says her favorite song is Fireworks by Katy Perry because of the message in the song, and it's got a great message. And then one of the most popular choices was One Republic Counting Stars, and that surprised me because it's not really, I mean, it's definitely a popular song, but not currently on the radio, but a lot of people chose that. And then Mark and Willer says his favorite song is kind of different. It's the Jeopardy song by Merv Griffin, and obviously, you guys know the song. A few people said Break Free by Ariana Grande. And then we have Fireflies by Owl City. Love that song as well. And then a ton of people said Approaching Nirvana, Sugar High, or although some didn't know quite what it was, but they said the song at the end of my videos, and at the end of this one, of course. And a bunch of people said The Living Tombstone from Five Nights at Freddy's. I didn't even know there was a song, so a lot of people chose that as well. Comedy King, true to his name, said, I love Witch Doctor, their various artists, and to sum it up, ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah, ting-tang, walla-walla, bing-bang. And I'm sure you guys know that one. A bunch of people said the song that Kevin made for Juliet, and some people identified it correctly as These Last Days. Then a few people said Darude Sandstorm. And I mean, you guys may not know, but there's sort of a meme about Darude Sandstorm. It's actually not even I think the song was made like 10 years ago or more. But yeah, there's sort of a meme about it, and the funny lyrics, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. It's kind of really funny. And then Radioactive by Imagine Dragons was super, super popular. And of course, I think the currently most popular song on the radio is All About That Bass by Meghan Trainor. And yep, it was reflected in the comments. There were quite a few of you. But then Noodle Eater said they love the song I Just Can't Clean This Place, which is a parody of it, and I did not know it, so I looked it up on YouTube. Really, really funny. I like it too. Gourd Guy asks, and this is kind of I felt like it was a question to me, and it was sort of related to the previous question. So, asks if you ever listened to MC Hammer, and if so, what was my favorite song by him? Obviously, you know, his most popular song was, you know, Can't Touch This, which probably, I guess if I had to think of all the MC Hammer songs, that was my favorite. And it's funny because you asked if I ever listened to it, and I actually went to one of his concerts during the Too Legit tour. Ogan Matranga says, my favorite song will probably be your new parody song in the future. And, you know, if I think about it, probably right now, that's one of my favorite songs because I've heard it so many times when I was rewriting the lyrics. So I know them all a lot. But I'm not going to tell you guys what that is for my favorite song because then it'll give away what I'm doing. And, you know, I want to keep it a surprise, at least for now, because the parody is a long way off. So, my favorite song, I guess, after that would probably... I mean, it's a Dave Matthews Band song called Mercy. Really, really good song, and it has a really great message in it. I'm Sarantal says, a possible question of the week. What is your favorite intro song to a TV show or a movie? Great question. And also add why it's your favorite. Now, before we get to the questions for me, I want to remind you to leave questions for me in the comments below so I can have something to answer next week. Remember, only one question per comment, but you can leave as many comments as you like. Also, if the comments on this Ask Think are closed, go to the most recent Ask Think and ask your question there. Now, on to the questions. And the first one is from Quinn Parzik, and they're saying, I think they're talking about their favorite song artist, Audion and Approaching Nirvana. But the question here is, why do you sometimes not like saying people's names out loud? And I think I've talked about this before, but if I don't say someone's name and it's there in the comment, it's only because I know I'm going to mispronounce it so badly that I just don't want to say it because I don't want to insult the person, that's all. Liana Perry says, I heard on the news there was a huge snowstorm that hit all of America, well, northeastern, including New York, etc., etc. And a lot of people are talking about this because the Buffalo area specifically got slammed with snow. I mean, we're talking 7 or 8 feet of snow in about a day. And this is really, really early in the season for snowfalls like that. And, you know, it's crushing people's houses because it's so much snow. And today it's supposed to warm up and rain, which is going to make things worse, and flooding. But let me tell you, here in New York City, we did not get even a flake of snow. It was cold, but no snow. The next couple of people ask, how come I never post any Kobe videos anymore? You guys must miss her. Well, I was playing with this little toy, and she kind of had a strange reaction to it. And I did video it. So I'll put it up, you know what? I'll put it up during the weekend since it's Thanksgiving. You guys will be home from school, at least in the US. And give you a little bit more to watch. The Toad Bros 18 asks, in one word, how would you describe your channel? Awesome. No, I don't know. Goofy? I think goofy is probably the best word for it. The Diamond Melon Cart Kate says, how old is Think's wife and what's her real name and how did you get Dan? Blah, blah, blah. That's like many questions. But what we'll do is I guess I'll answer them all at once since it's all one run-on sentence, but I don't normally do this. First of all, never ask a woman's age. You should know better. Second, her real name is Rochelle. And Dan is a friend of mine, and all I did was ask him, hey, can you do a couple of lines for me? And I sent him the lines, and he did it. Turtlecraft asks, will you ever do a Terraria series? I've played a tiny bit, and it's actually quite good, Noodle on. I've never played it. Before I would commit to doing a series, I'd have to play it a little bit and figure out what the draw is. Because to me, this is exactly how I felt about Minecraft. When I saw it, I was like, that game doesn't look very good. When I first saw it, didn't know what it was. But, you know, I feel the same way about Terraria. I was like, you know, I'm not saying that it's a bad game or anything like that. I just have never played it. I've never even watched it played. So I don't know what is great about it. I know there's a lot great about it. It's just, I don't know any of it. Mickey 2000MK says, choose one option from these below. Do you think you have more fans from USA, Europe, or Australia? Actually, I don't have to think about it. YouTube provides me analytics that I can look at that. And most definitely number 1 is USA. Absolutely 100%. I think number 2, it's either the UK or Canada. I'm not sure which. I think it's probably Canada and then the UK, but it might be the other way around. No, I think it's USA, then UK, then Canada, because there's more people in the UK than Canada, right? I think. And then probably Australia. And it makes sense because these are all English-speaking nations. LP Swinks 32 says, have you ever been to the Metropolitan Museum of Art? How is it, and is it fun there? Yes, I've been to the Met quite a few times, and I really, really like it. My favorite part, I mean, other than seasonal exhibits, is they've got this Egyptian pyramid. I mean, not like one of the great pyramids. And actually, it's not a pyramid. It's some sort of temple. It's not a pyramid, but it's a temple that they've taken from Egypt. They've taken it block by block and rebuilt it in this atrium area, and you can kind of like walk through it and stuff, and it's awesome. Smiley Freak says, if you use Final Cut Pro X to edit 90% of the time, what is the other 10%? The other 10% is ScreenFlow, and it is for this video specifically. Ask Think and Pixelmon, sometimes I use ScreenFlow and sometimes I use Final Cut Pro X, and then I use Final Cut Pro X for all my other videos. Shino1234ization asks, Think, do you have a sheet of paper on your desk with all the accounts and passwords you have? No. If you do, it's a bad idea. Don't do that. That's you know, if you have to keep a piece of paper or something reminding you about your passwords, use your phone and put a passcode on it so that no one else can get to them. Because you've always got your phone with you or your tablet or whatever it is, and then you can put it in notes or something like that. But don't leave a sheet of paper out. That's a terrible idea. Power Glove Pink says, Think, have you ever been recording and in the middle of a video when everything was perfect and the sound was turned off? Well, not the sound turned off, because I'll notice that pretty quickly. But the microphone or my audio recording program, sometimes, because my video, I use a different video and audio recording program separately. So I'll start the recording of the video and then I'll just be like, oh, let me just do that real quick, right? And I'll go and, I don't know, pick something out of a chest, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to start. And then I just start, but I forgot that I'd started the video part, hadn't started the audio because I got distracted by something else. It's happened quite a few times, to be honest. Retsum here MC asks, do you believe in other universes? Other universes, other galaxies? I mean, I don't know if that's are there other universes? I don't even know. So I just had to look this up because for me, like, I was thinking about it and I was like, well, it is the universe. And so, and uni, like, one. So otherwise it would be multiverses, which I guess is a Minecraft server thing. But anyway, no, I think the whole definition, because a universe is a definition that we have created. It's not like a physical limitation on anything. A universe is a definition by us that it includes everything, right? That's the whole point of defining it as the universe, which has multiple galaxies, multiple solar systems, and things like that. So there couldn't be other universes. There could only be other galaxies and solar systems and planets and things like that. Awesome Brad says, Think, tell a small story without saying ums. This is not going to be easy. Okay, this story is about Kopi and how she's conscious of heat and hot things and smoke. And she is afraid, whenever I'm cooking, she stays in the kitchen until she sees smoke. And guys, I don't catch food on fire, but sometimes when you're cooking something like bacon, it starts to smoke. Sometimes if you turn it on too high. And she gets worried that the fire or smoke detector is going to go off. Now, one day I was on the street really early in the morning. There's nobody on the sidewalk. Not on the street, on the sidewalk, I guess. And she was walking along and she dodged something. And I couldn't figure out what it was because there's nothing there. I didn't see anything. So we kept walking, turned back around. And when we walked past that point, I noticed that there was a small cigarette on the ground that was burning, and she had seen that and seen the little bit of smoke and dodged it. Such a smart dog because she didn't want to step on it because she knew it was hot. So much pressure. You check the raw recording. I don't think I said a single The next two people ask if I could make Think Thursday into a live stream. That way I wouldn't have to worry about uploading and processing and give more people the chance to meet me. You know what? That might be a possibility and a good idea even. I may try it next week. Albert Lang says, in Pop Tropica, how do you get the excitement equals Minecraft squared? Well, I'm not sure that's what it means. I think it's energy equals the mass times the speed of light q squared, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it is that. But the way I have it, I think it has to do with the hair that I have. It's the Einstein hair. Or maybe it's the, no, the glasses. No, it's definitely the hair. AJ Sweet says, Dear Thinknoodles, I know that you and Dan are good friends, so I have a question. What came first, Think's lab or Dan's mod spotlight with his lab? Did you both share ideas with each other? Dan's came way before mine. I think Dan has been doing his mod reviews in the lab for at least 2 years now, maybe longer than that. And Think's lab isn't even a year old yet. Kayla Chase asks, Think, here's a question. Why did you choose Minecraft of all games and other programs? Why Minecraft? Well, it's because of you guys. It was my 20,000 subscribers special, and I was always getting people in the comments begging me to play Minecraft, and I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. And I didn't do very well. And then I played again, and I did a little bit better. And I played again, and I did a little bit better, and then I just got addicted. Waldy asks, will Think's Lab ever run out of new mods? If it does, what will you do in that series? It'll never run out of mods because the series itself is not, I mean, it is dependent on mods to tell stories because I do things that couldn't be done without mods, right? But the series is more about us in the lab, having fun, doing whatever. And I can always reuse mods to do certain things and to make things appear a certain way to tell the story. Now this is odd because this doesn't usually come up, but a lot of people asked, why did I use minions and how did I get the idea to come up with them in my lab? And you know, when I was thinking about Think's Lab, I knew that when I'd done my snapshot adventures, right, that I had someone leaving signs behind saying, we're going to get you, that sort of thing, and Kopi was in it. And I knew I wanted to do something like that in the lab area, and I couldn't really think of a way to do it. And then when I got the build back from the builders, and I opened up the file, and I was like, whoa. This thing is huge. Like, I knew I wanted a big place, but it was huge. And I was walking around in it with Kopi, and it was super empty. And I was like, we have got to fill this up. Because I was just going to have one guy, right? And I didn't even know how I was going to do it. I was just going to have someone, I don't know, leaving signs behind as my boss or something like that. And, you know, he'd be mysterious and we wouldn't know who he was for a long time. And but when I saw that the lab was so huge and so empty, I was like, okay, that's not gonna work. One dude, you know, me and Kopi and this mysterious boss, not gonna work. We need to find something that we can use that'll have, you know, a lot of characters in it. And so then I started thinking about, I actually first thought of the little guys in Toy Story. If you guys remember them, they are in the, you know, the One of Us, those guys. And in the claw machine. And I don't know, for some reason I came across Minions. I don't really know what it was because it's not like the movie had just come out, but I thought maybe that's just what it led to. I was like, oh, those guys are cool, but you know, Minions are cooler. And then we just put a bunch of random, I don't know if you guys remember, at the beginning of Think's Lab there were all random Minions. They just didn't have names, they were just Minion. And then obviously you guys named Dave, and then we brought Kevin in, and then I can't remember if I started naming them after Kevin or before Kevin, but I just came up with the idea. I was like, you know what? I can involve my subscribers in this as well. Justin Tube asks, my question is, how did you make Dave's laptop? And it is a picture frame and a gray carpet, but it's a little more complicated than that. Corey is kind of right. I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure it was World Edit that made that, because if you notice, the picture frame is facing the gray carpet, so it's actually backed by a blank, you know, behind it by nothing, and you can't place a picture frame on nothing and have it face that way. So what happens sometimes is if I accidentally break it, I actually have to re-download the map because I can't remake it without World Edit. Smart Floyd asks, hey Think, how do you come up with such cool storylines for Think's Lab? They are always such creative ways to showcase mods. I don't know. Well, actually, that's not true. Sometimes I see comments from you guys and I take that and use creative liberty and go from there with a little bit of an idea from you, and I can just keep going with it sometimes. And sometimes it just comes out of nowhere, and it starts, the way that I come up with it, it starts really small as an idea of, oh, you know, it'd be really cool to do this. Like, for example, the turkey hunt. I knew I wanted to do a turkey hunt. I didn't know what mods I was going to use. I didn't know how it was going to work. I didn't know what the plot was going to be. I just knew that I wanted to, actually, I thought we were going to kill turkeys and, you know, hunt turkeys. And then I found the Mo Creatures mod and said, okay, great, they got turkeys and let's see how they work. And then they had the taming thing. I was like, oh, that's even better. That's great. And then I was like, man, but if I kill them, because, you know, it makes them pets when you tame them, it's like, ugh, and those are melon seeds, so I renamed them, that whole thing. It sort of just comes together. It sort of evolves as I'm building for it, as I'm setting up the plot in my head, figuring out the way the mod works. It sort of evolves into what it becomes. It doesn't start out that way. It starts as a teeny tiny idea and expands and expands and grows and grows. XX the best XX says, hey Think, what are you gonna do when you're done with Crazy Craft? You said in your last episode to Hexit you'll make a mod pack. Are you gonna make a mod pack? I don't know. Depends on what mod packs are out and what I'm looking for. Kelly Kawaii asks, is the ship you're building on the Noodle Planet gonna be a huge project? Yeah, it will be. I think it'll be on the scale of the island in the sky, but it will be easier because I'm not in the sky, you know? It'll be easier than that. You know, the basic structure's there. That was probably the hardest part because I was really struggling to do commentary while building like that. Is really hard for me to visualize what I was doing on the outside and the inside and trying to keep it moving instead of like building 4 blocks and then jumping off the dock and going, okay, does that look good? Okay, and go back, you know. But I think we've got the basic structure and it'll go up from there. It'll start looking better and better in the next couple of episodes. But yeah, it is a huge project. Jing Han Go asks, why does your wife play on Think's Lab so often these days? It's not that often. It's just that whenever I come up with a plot and she so happens to be home the night before, I try and include her because I know you guys like it and I like having her on it as well. Social Smiley Gamer asks, how do you text Kevin? That is not a mod. That's actually not in Minecraft at all. That is done in post-production in video editing. So it's not in the game. It just kind of looks like it. Katie Smith asks, what's the grossest thing you have ever seen or have tasted? Well, those are kind of 2 different things. I guess the grossest thing I've tasted, I mean, the thing that comes to mind, although it probably isn't the grossest thing I've ever tasted, is this melon called fuga. It's a Chinese melon, bitter melon. And eating it plain is really, really bitter. Obviously, it's a bitter melon, right? But I think I've eaten grosser things. Just that comes to mind. But the grossest thing I've ever seen and couldn't eat it, which is saying something because I've eaten a lot of things, is cuy. And if you're Peruvian, you're from South America, you might know what this is. If you're not, probably don't. It is roasted guinea pig. And you guys go, I have a guinea pig! And I'm sorry, but they do eat them in Peru. Now, the thing about them is why they're gross, because you might think, well, it's just, you know, I mean, was it because you knew it was a guinea pig and you felt bad for the little guy or anything? And it wasn't that specifically. It was the way that they roast them. They just take a skewer and put it straight through and roast it like you would, you know, a chicken, right? But guinea pigs, and they leave all the teeth and everything, and when they're roasted, guinea pigs look like a rat on a stick when they're they're cute little pets. They really are. but I could never eat one because I would swear I was eating a rat, and when it was staring at, when you eat it, it's on this thing, and the face is staring right at you, and it looks, it's got teeth, and it looks mean, and there's no cuddly fur on them anymore, it's just, ugh. But they love it there. All right, guys, wow, what a weird ending. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Ask Think. Don't forget to leave your question in the comments below so I can have something to answer next week. I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching, and of course, Noodle on!